Hi, I'm Scott. Welcome back to GoldwingDocs. You got questions, we got answers. Episode 11 coming up next. I know I normally do 3 questions for each of these. Today we're going to do 4 because I got so many we got to get through. So many people leaving fantastic questions that really help other people out, and I like answering them. And you love these videos, so let's get to question number 1. This one's from 47 Chief. I recently purchased a 2008 GL 1800 HPN with a Roadsmith trike conversion. I noticed that I can turn the front wheel further to the right than I can to the left. The left turn radius is wider by far. It feels as it's hitting stop to stop. Okay, well, I did pick this one, but after I picked it, 47 Chief actually posted this also on the GoldwingDocs forum, and after he posted it, he then posted a follow-up and said, I found the problem! So I don't really need to answer this, but if you have the same problem, the same question, you really need to check this out, and this is exactly what I would have suggested the 47 Chief, and it probably would have solved his problem if I had answered it. Basically, that's not right. There's something wrong, there's something stopping it. So if you have a look up inside the forks, either you take the fork covers off the top here and look down inside, or get down below and look up. Something is stopping the handlebars from moving. You should have full range of motion, both directions, with nothing's equal turn radius, both directions. In this case, someone had added an aftermarket HID headlight system to his bike. And HID lights have that little box, that high voltage module, that inverter that drives the bulbs. And they'd zip tied it up underneath the fairing there. And what had happened is it had come loose and dropped down so that the handlebars were actually hitting it. This is really dangerous. In this case, it only kept him from fully turning the handlebars one direction, but if it had happened somewhere in the middle where he basically couldn't steer, you could crash because of this. So anytime I'm putting anything aftermarket or doing any kind of wiring or anything up and around the forks, I make double sure that everything up there is super secure, is never gonna get bumped and slide and interfere with the forks, and especially with the front wheel. Don't forget, the wheel actually compresses up into the fairing, and when you hit a big bump, or under heavy braking, that wheel can actually compress enough that the mudguard is almost touching the bottom of the fairing. I actually had a difficult time finding a place to put a camera underneath the fairing there where it wouldn't get hit and interfere with the steering in the front wheel when under compression. It doesn't look like it just sitting there looking at it, but when the bike is under compression and the front forks are actually compressed, you turn, it actually could get stopped by that camera. That could cause a crash. So be really careful about any accessories or aftermarket devices you put anywhere around in the front fairing or the front wheel for exactly that reason. All right, question number 2 from Walt Cease. Great video as usual, Scott. Oh, I don't know which video he was talking about, but thank you, Walt. I was noticing while watching, your 1500 looks really great, super clean. What product are you using on your black plastic to get that shine, like the rear speaker enclosures, etc.? This actually made me laugh because my bike is filthy. I rode it through the rain and I didn't clean it afterwards, and it's just got water spots and dirt and crap everywhere. So I don't know why he was thinking it was so clean and shiny. I guess it's kind of shiny here. But I will tell you what I use. It's this Honda spray cleaner and polish. I use it for absolutely everything. I use it on the windshield, I use it on the bodywork, chrome, wheels, everything. This stuff is amazing. I haven't always used this. I've had a number of different products that I've used over the years. Once I tried this, I was never going back. It's so good. You can carry it with you in your saddlebag just to clean your windshield when you're stopped or at the beginning of the day. It leaves a protective surface that beads water off your windshield. You can spray it right on dirt or bugs or whatever, and just let it sit for a few minutes and then just wipe it off, and it takes all the dirt, and it's got some amazing surfactants in it. It just takes all the dirt and filth off and leaves behind this protective shiny surface. It really is amazing stuff. I'll leave a link to this in the description below. And believe it or not, it says it's Honda, it's Pro Honda Spray Cleaner Polish. Everybody uses this. If you go into a Suzuki dealership, you will find them using the Pro Honda cleaner on their Suzukis. Same thing goes for other manufacturers. I even use this stuff on my car. So it's really fantastic stuff. I'd really recommend using this. Okay, question number 3 from Noel Santiago. My rear brake reservoir keeps going empty. I pulled my battery box and looked for a leak and did not see anything. Also check pedal area. Any tips I can do to find this leak? Thank you. Okay, you didn't mention what model of Goldwing you have. It really depends because on some Goldwings, the rear brake actuates only the rear wheel. On some, it actuates the front and the rear. So if you are just looking at the pedal and the rear wheel and you have something with a linked brake system, which is basically from a 1983 onwards, you need to also have a look at the front. So basically, your brake system is closed system. The fluid can't go anywhere. You can't use it up. So if it's going down, if it's going away, it's going somewhere. Now there's 2 places it can go. One is into the calipers. So if you are wearing away the pads, as you wear away your brake pads, the pistons in your calipers move out farther and farther to take up for that brake wear. Of course, that has to come from somewhere. It's coming from your reservoir. That's what the reservoir is for, is to supply the fluid to fill the calipers as the pads get worn. So if your pads are getting severely worn and the fluid's going down your reservoir, that's normal. If the pads are not getting worn and it's actually leaking out somewhere, that's a problem. What I might suggest that you do is fill it up, get it to a normal state, then put a weight on your brake pedal. Just put a good 10, 20, 30 pound weight or tie it down with a ratchet strap. Basically, you want to pressurize your brake system and just leave it like that overnight. So what happens is it's going to put high pressure into your brake lines all throughout the bike. And if you do have a leak, instead of it just flying away on the road somewhere and you'll never find it, instead it's going to drip onto your floor. That will help at least identify that A, there is a leak, and B, the general location of it. And you should be able to follow the drips up to wherever it's coming from. It could be a cracked line, could be a failed banjo fitting or a bleed nipple. There's any number of things that could cause a brake leak, but first on the list is actually finding where the leak is so that you can start the diagnostic process of fixing it. Hope that helps you out. Last question, number 4, from Paula M. The little knob in my GL 1500 isn't adjusting my RPM anymore. It feels loose in my hand. Is it broken? Okay, well, she's talking about the little knob that's inside the gas flap here, and that is your idle speed knob. On most motorcycles, you have a little screw on the throttles that adjusts how far closed the throttle can go. So that's going to adjust the minimum speed or the idle speed that the engine goes back to. If you back that screw out, it lets the throttles close more, it lowers the idle speed. On the 1500, that's buried inside there somewhere, and it's really hard to get to, requiring a lot of disassembly. So instead, they took that screw, put it on the end of a flexible line, rubber line, and then brought it up to a little knob inside your gas flap there, so you can just turn that knob. The problem is, that's a little screw, and if you turn that knob all the way out, you will actually back the screw out of the throttle assembly, and now it's fallen out, you can no longer adjust your idle speed. If that's the case, you're going to have to take the bike apart, get that screw threaded back in there, turn the knob to screw it back into place. Because you say it feels loose in your hand and it's no longer actually changing the idle speed, I suspect that's exactly what's happened. I don't know that we have a how-to on the website on how to do that, but we certainly have pictures and information. And if you post a question on the GoldwingDocs forum, I'm sure someone has some pictures. I might even have some pictures I could supply that show exactly what you need to do, what has to come off, and where that little screw is that you have to screw back in. All right, that's it. If you like what you saw here today, please click like, subscribe, click that little bell. You get notified every time we post one of these videos, and it really helps us out. If you have any comments or questions, if I got something wrong, please leave a comment down below. And don't forget to check out the GoldwingDocs forum. 90,000 Goldwing owners just like you, willing to help out. They're friendly, happy people. And if you want to buy some of the Pro Honda spray cleaner, definitely click on the link down below. It's an affiliate link for Amazon. We'll make a few cents if you use our link to buy it or anything else, so that helps us out as well. All right, thanks for watching. See you again next week.